How many years into your marriage is this? Like 20 something years in.
Yeah.
And you were just like, in this economy, so that
Yeah.
was your lead in, not like my whole life I've always loved women and I've always wanted to be with one and I have to before I die.
When Brian and I first started talking about it that day at camp, it was so like, people don't do this. We're making this up. Is this a thing? This isn't a thing. Can we do this? We had no clue that there was like this whole other world of polyamory.
So I'm curious, what was hard in your life that made you go, what if we had a third adult? Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom Podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Open Bedroom Podcast. Today, I have Love You 2 2022. I've got a throuple on. Today, you're just seeing the ladies. Brian couldn't join us, but we do have some info from him that he's passed along that he wants us to share. So what I thought we would do today with Lisa and Missy is talk about what's it like being in a throuple, a long-term throuple that has this intention of being together forever. What does that look like? How does it feel? And maybe talk to each one of you about how did you land in a throuple? That seems kind of interesting. And what's your experience been? Obviously, it's been good if you want to stay in one. So you guys want to, I don't know, introduce yourselves and maybe kick this off?
Sure. I'm Missy. I am, I guess, the wife in the beginning of the situation. Brian and I have been together since 99, married since 2002. I am the one who introduced the idea of a throuple to Brian. One day we were actually out at our camp and I was in the kitchen just doing dishes and he was sitting on the couch and we were having a discussion and I kind of threw out there, wouldn't life be easier if there was more of us? Like just to attack life in general. And he kind of just looked at me weird, like, what do you mean? What are you talking about, you crazy woman? And I said, well, like, what if we had someone else, And he said, well, I'm not gay. And I was like, yeah, but I might be okay with girls. And I think he was kind of maybe taken aback a little bit, but not necessarily shocked either.
Okay, how many years into your marriage is this? Like 20 something years in.
Yeah.
And you were just like, in this economy, so that was your lead in, not like my whole life I've always loved women and I've always wanted to be with one and I have to before I die.
I don't know what brought the thought to my mind. I really don't. I couldn't pinpoint something that I was like, this is what I want to do. And honestly, when Brian and I first started talking about it that day at camp, it was so like, people don't do this. We're making this up. Is this a thing? This isn't a thing. Can we do this? Like, we had no clue that there was like this whole other world of polyamory and all these other buzzwords that I learned that since getting here.
So I'm curious, like, what was hard in your life that made you go, what if we had like a third adult? Was it the kids? Everything.
Everything was hard. Life was hard. Just Brian and I were rocky at the time. Like, just things weren't jiving well with us. Like, money was stressful. Just everything. Kids were stressful. It was just like, God, life, could it be any heavier right now?
And really, as you get older and the kids get to a point of not needing mom anymore, there starts this loneliness even when you're with someone. Mm-hmm. So and again, sorry to interrupt there, I think that kind of, right?
Yeah. Okay. And it was like, and honestly, like I was almost like craving a woman's just, I had never been with a woman before at this point. And I was just like thinking about it and kind of like what would it be like? Like, I think I would like that. I would like to give that a try and see if it's the same thing that I have concocted in my head.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Lisa, do you want
introduce
to
yourself.
So I am Lisa, and I am a Canadian mother of, I say 3.5 because I have a stepdaughter as well. She's not biologically mine, but she's still mine. Was married 18 years to a man. Did the whole kid thing. And in my marriage early on, I remember asking my now ex-husband for a threesome. And at first he said, okay, cool. And we used Plenty of Fish at the time. That was the only thing I knew of because his friend Mike used to tell me about POF and I'd listen, right? So went on and thought we might have found someone. And I think he got a little bit like, oh my God, this could, and then kiboshed it. Called me a lesbian, said, don't ever bring it up again. So I never did. Put it in a box. And it wasn't until I got divorced and I met someone who, in a sense, showed me there was a different world out there. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. I knew I jumped into ethical non-monogamy very like at first because I was so taken back because I didn't know that this world existed. And while it was people within my own community that were coming out of the woodwork, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is huge. So a little investigating, and I discovered that number one, I liked commitment. For me, commitment is huge. Number two, I discovered as a single woman trying to find someone on dating apps, and the mention of bisexuality instantly makes you this sex desirable symbol, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that for those people that want to embrace that side of them. But I had kind of done that and I wanted more commitment. So I thought, you know what? Date couples for a bit because I like the fact that they've been together a long time. I like the fact that he must be so good of a guy that she's going to stay with them. So I decided to, just casually date couples. And I had probably dated 2 people and then came across Missi and Brian one night on the night shift at work. I was really bored and, I saw them and I just kept thinking, oh, Fort Erie, that's where I thought they were from. Turns out it wasn't. That's how we got the Canada, US, which we can dive into in a little bit. But I thought, but she looks so happy. Like, or she's in this blue and white striped dress, and he's got his arms around her, and she just looked so happy, so safe, so comfortable. And I look at eyes, had this life in his eyes, and I'm just like, whatever, let's do it. So that's kind of what got us here in a nutshell.
Yeah, you have a very fun story because I heard Lisa's story about a week or so ago. We were just having a Zoom call to get to know each other, and it's definitely spicy and fun.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's time to read about Brian. If one of you guys want to tell us, like, what's his story and how did he get here in a throuple?
All right. So Brian's thoughts on our throuple. I'm just going to read it. So I'm going to say but it's not.
Sure. Yeah.
I absolutely imagine things the way they are, and I'm very excited to see us grow every day. It is everything I've expected and more. Having 2 partners with very different personalities, perspectives, needs, and wants allows all my needs to be filled while pushing me to be the best partner for both of them. I really enjoy our dynamic. It is so nice to have 3 people to share the burden of everything from household chores to being the one carrying on the conversation or even picking what's for dinner. It's definitely interesting being the male in a female-male, female throuple. In the beginning especially, I felt like expectations on me were different because I was a man. It wasn't the same rules for everyone. As we have grown, we are all just 3 individuals with more equal footing. I rarely get to pick what we watch on TV, though, and have kind of become obsessed with reality dating shows as a result. I also had to be very humble man and not at all a male chauvinist, and lucky for me, that was easy. I am a strong supporter of women's rights and love to see the girls accomplish all the things they set out for. Jealousy absolutely was an issue with me in the beginning because Missy and Lisa were able to spend time together without the guardrails I had early on. I try hard to be fair with them regarding my attention and support, but fair doesn't always mean equal. I struggled early on with trying to do everything equally, not wanting to upset the other partner, but I have found that balance. The distance came into play there too, as I wanted to squeeze a week's worth of attention into a weekend for Lisa. So Miss and I were in competition for her attention and didn't really try to focus on each other while we were with her. The more time though we spent together, it became easier to find that natural balance.
That is so good. I started writing down a few questions that I had. So I want to just stop too and do a shout out to Throuple Talk. That's how we met. So there's a Throuple Talk podcast and they have a community on Facebook. I'll be sure and link those in the notes. If you're curious more about throuples and how to have one or what to do or how to find your third or how to whatever, there's a bunch of throuples within the group that have been on the podcast and can tell you more about it. So anyway, that's how I met these three. So I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that brings me to a question. Let's just start here with, well, let's just start with Canada versus US or Canada and US. So Lisa, you're in Canada, Missy and Brian are in the United States. I have a 2-hour apart from our third. Like how in the freaking world do you guys navigate two countries with very different viewpoints? Let's start with that.
So first off, I, in the beginning, did all the traveling because they didn't have passports.
Until December.
But still, in the beginning, and that was a big deal because again, some people don't want to drive and go through the border in the winter. And
it's
again, we met at middle of October. So. But I'm a very adventurous person. So the first time we actually met, I was in 3 countries in a 3-day span. So it was I'm a very that kind of person, right? But the drive doesn't bother me. It gives you a lot of time to reflect on things, on experiences. Did the weekend go the way it was supposed to? Or how I envisioned it to go. Do I have anything that I'm struggling with? And, so the drive is actually very much a blessing in disguise.
I don't mind the drive either. Honestly, it's a nice drive. Like it's not a difficult drive at all. There's like 3 exits. Like it's not a difficult drive. And I find, you can do the reflection thing or you can throw on a podcast or you can just zone out to your music at the top of your lungs.
Call your friend and
call your friend that you haven't talked to in a while. It's good alone time.
Yeah, it absolutely is some good alone time. But we've figured out ways to make the border easy. Nexus, that has been, oh my goodness, game changer for us. Nexus is a more in-depth background checked on us. We get fingerprint, eye scan, and a card that grants us the special line. So when the border is backed way up, could be 45 minutes, we're waving, hey, as we drive up and we're through. So it's gotten to be fun. There are things that we get to do multiple of. So you guys have Memorial Day. We have May 2-4. So we get 2 May holiday weekends.
2 Thanksgivings.
2 Thanksgivings at different times, right? We have also in Canada, we have Boxing Day. You guys don't. So Boxing Day is basically the Canadian Black Friday. We have,
Canada Day.
And
well, we have Canada Day and then 4th of July. So it's like a party week.
Yeah, party week. And they get to experience actually their first Canada Day in my actual home, right? We're doing a big block party. We shut stuff down. So we take it very serious. It's my favorite holiday ever, ever. Yeah, it's the greatest. So,
All right. So we've talked
yeah,
about the fun of the 2.5 hours or
yeah,
two. Yeah.
About 2.5.
I know that
topic.
I know there's some challenges too, though. There's challenges politically. There's
Sure.
challenges in how we are viewing each other right now as countries. I
Yeah,
know, Lisa, you have a little anxiety around that.
yeah,
So I guess, do you want to speak to what you're feeling like as a human and your humans around you maybe judging you for dating people in the other
yeah.
country?
I think where I finally have found some peace is knowing that I live by what I see and what I hear, right? Actions and words. So what I see online and I'm hearing all this stuff and I'm hearing all this but what I see when I'm here and what they see when they're here at home is just we're surrounded by love anyways. So eh eh, it's gonna happen. People are gonna do their thing, and politics are gonna happen. And at the end of the day, I mean, nothing's gonna stop us. I mean, if
Love it.
we can overcome the stuff that we had to overcome in our personal lives, in their marriage, they had to uncouple, and that was devastating. It was a devastating yet beautifully transition kind of thing. It was like a butterfly. It really was. It was, it needed that. You need to transition to that. But I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's follow that thread and talk about it. So, Lisa, I think when you joined them, you didn't say this on the podcast, but what you
Yeah.
told me is you were just looking for fun. Like at
Yeah.
that point in your life, you were like, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah.
And you weren't like, I want a throuple forever too. And
Yeah.
so do you want to talk a little bit about how this morphed into what it is today? And then Missy, if you could talk for you and Brian on like what in the world did you guys all have to do to get to be a really equal throuple, which I can imagine is incredibly hard. And maybe speak to that. You guys are moms, you've got kids. Like, this is a lot of humans involved in this relationship.
Yeah. So really, it was the safety that came with a couple was that there was never going to be a chance that he wanted more or she wanted more or this was going to go anywhere other than the bedroom. That was my thought and what I told myself because my plan was to find a man who wasn't attached to anyone but was open to the idea of bringing in a third later on. Like this is what I wanted, having three people because I love having a man around to do man things, but men nap and men do men things. But I loved having a best friend. When we'd have parties when I was younger and all my girlfriends would go home and be like, oh, where they go. She never goes away, like ever. And that's what I've always wanted. I've wanted to have a guy, but I've also wanted my best friend. Best friend. I use that loosely because Brian's also my best friend. But as female goes, and I'm sure you know what that's like, having that female connection is just, I don't know, it's great. We do other stuff, which I don't do with any of my other girlfriends, So, but I love that she's always here and she's comforting and she's warm. And what made it real for me was, walking in. I actually got to this Airbnb the first time we met. Actually, I was in Cuba and I had met a girl, and her name was Christine, and she is also polyamorous. And I was with a group of 8 of my girlfriends who were very much, not even going to consider polyamory for themselves. I didn't know how to approach them and tell them. But here I met this girl, and I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. And I'm so glad I met you because after I get home, I'm heading to the United States to meet this couple. And she was like a gift for me, and we're still in touch. We're on social media together and, I watch her adventures. But anyways, like, dealing with this.
We were getting to how we went from
Yes.
you wanting fun to
Correct. All right. Yes. So what happened, I got there early. I had all my bedding, I had my pillows, my blankets, because other couples I've been with, I've been given my own room and they had theirs, and I understood hey, and again, I was okay with that. You set forth the rules, I'm going to abide by them. I appreciate rules. I appreciate them because then I know what I can and can't do, what is and what isn't allowed. And when they saw that, and I'm like, well, where am I going to sleep? There's only one bed. And they laughed at me. They're like, well, you're going to sleep with us. And I wasn't nervous. Like, I felt at home. Like, that is the only feeling that I can describe. And I've said it from day one. I'll say it 1,000 more times, is that there was no nerves when we hugged the first time. There was no feeling of being less than or trying to put on a show for or trying to be more than I am. I was just home. And we did the most corny stuff, playing guitar,
singing,
doing some
we did
yoga. Like, we went out for a nice dinner. And, I even told someone we were a throuple when we went out to an adult's place and,
strip club. We took Lisa to her strip club.
You can say anything you want to say on here, just so you know. You don't have to edit yourself. Unless you just want to edit yourself, that's fine.
It's true. I'd never been to a strip club, and they were baffled. They're like, "You're kidding me!" So
let's go.
Took me there
and find one.
Man, we were the life of the place. Like, everyone was just so
buying us shots,
and I think feeding off our energy. And for the longest time, no matter where we went, people were just giving us stuff. Like, oh, here, have these drinks, or here, try this, or here, and it was like, do other people feel
our energy?
Yeah, that it's just like pouring off. So I knew when I left, I'm like, okay, it's time to go home, and I'll text you when I get to the border. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll text you when I get home. And then it's like, well, do you guys want to chat? And it's like, yeah, okay. And it just never stopped. It just didn't stop from there. So I knew this was different. I knew. And I had my friends saying, this is crazy. And I'm like, I'm just going to go with it. I mean, the men that I had in my life up until that point never cared for me enough to check in on my well-being. They just didn't care. I was a fun time, and it was nice to be appreciated for more than just being a fun time.
Yeah.
So
bring your stuff. You're sleeping on the couch. Let's go have fun on my account, and then you can sleep out there.
But now, and here's the funny thing, I'll sometimes bring my own pillows now because I'm very picky on my pillows. So
Sure.
Do your pillows at USA Home meet the standard for me right now? No, I'm going to bring some. And then that just means I buy new ones for Canada Home. And
there you go.
It's like a revolving
we shuffle them
door.
around.
We do. That's really what it is that I have this pillow thing.
Okay, so Missy, I want to ask you a question about you and Brian, because I know for Scott and I, the way that you treated Lisa is how we treat any woman we've been with. Like, I'm assuming that was just normal for the two of you. That's why you were like, why did you bring your sleeping bag and your pillow? Like, what is happening?
So honestly, like, we were very new to this, and Lisa was like the first person we met like this.
Amazing.
We had gone out on dates or whatever, but nothing like no overnight or anything like that. So this was like the first time for us really.
You're going to have to walk us through how you two were feeling when you were like, do we invite her over? Oh my God, she's coming. She brought her.
We met halfway.
Okay.
And
that's right, because you were in a hotel.
I have to tell it.
Tell it.
So so the day before we were going to meet, I get a text from Lisa, not in the group, just straight to me, saying I have my period.
No. It was.
Or I think my period's coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're still coming, right? And she was like, I don't know, should I? And I'm like, yes, please still come. Like, absolutely, And she was like, I couldn't figure out why you would still want me to come. And I'm like, it wasn't all about that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lisa, I just want to hug you from here that like you have been treated that way.
Well, and I'm honestly like, you ask any single woman who is out there on the dating apps and is a professional. I'm a professional. Like, I have a higher standards, but it's hard to find those standards when the bar is very low. And yeah, yeah, it's just bad. It is bad out there, and that's what dating's like. So to find someone, when I hear my friends saying, "Oh, I found someone on this dating app or that dating app," I'm like, "How? How is this happening?" Because I'm not having it happen. So
Well, luckily, you don't have to worry about
ever
that
again,
anymore.
ever again. And honestly, where I'm from, they actually had a friendship. They called it a friendship meetup, whether you're a couple or a single or whatever, and you want to sit and meet with other people. They did it in a speed dating style, and things like that make it easier. So you can go out there and meet the organic way instead of looking at a picture or, COVID really changed things, but man, dating, I feel for people who are dating. And I think a lot of divorcees have standards. We like commitment. We want to have that, not having to worry about your guy cheating on you or a guy going out and partying until 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, having, oh, there's this woman who's pregnant with your kid, that, all these things that come up. Like, we just don't want that. We don't want that kind of drama. And it's hard because if these were good men, they would still be married. Sorry, really. And women, because not all men are bad. Again, the image.
It's okay.
Who has had to learn.
I think this period thing is funny. Just for a side note, like, so we also we do Marco Polo with Jess, and Jess yesterday goes, I am so excited to see you guys Thursday and Saturday. So she took a day off work. She lives 2 hours away. Like I said, she's in a different state. And so she's like, I'm going to hang out with you guys on Thursday. I'm so excited. And then I can't wait to have my date with Scott. Her dyad date is Saturday. So I'm going to go hang out with another girlfriend that I have that we've been dating for a little over 2 years. And Jess and Scott are going to have their night together. And she goes, and I just want you to know I'm probably going to be on my period. This is like, and Scott was like, again, like every time I see her, she's on her period. And I was like, honey, we bleed 1/4 of the entire month. Like it's a human woman thing. And I think like with birth control and like IUDs, maybe there's parts of our life where we've gotten kind of lucky where we've maybe escaped having a period every month or two. And sometimes I think our guys forget like, oh, this is super normal. So I'm just like, just roll with it. Like we have splash blankets, there's the shower, like you don't have to not have sex.
Now here's the thing, Jennifer, I also suffered. I'm post hysterectomy now, but periods that were very heavy, last sometimes 2 weeks, endometriosis, adenomyosis. So it's not just a period we're dealing with. I'm talking like
horror films.
Here. So, and on the first meet, like you don't want to scare these young people off. Or I guess I'm the young person.
You're the young one.
Guys off, and it would.
Don't say the old people.
Just ID or just whatever you do. ID to scan someone your ID.
Yes.
Because. Anyways, but yeah, I have really bad periods. So it was.
I didn't get carded the other day, and she did, and I was very angry at the man.
His response was, "I only ID under 35." That just set her off.
And I was like, "You're not making it any better."
So just ID, like just ID.
If you're gonna ask for one, ask for both.
Make it easier on the guy. I think Brian would contest that too. Yeah. Didn't let that go. Never let it go.
Okay. So let's okay. I'm going to get us back on track. Missy, I want you to talk about, you and Brian and kind of disentangling your marriage to bring Lisa in. Like, give us that story. What did it look like? At what point were you like, it's time? Like, we can't keep being the married couple and the girlfriend comes over. Like, this is feeling more equal. And what do we do about it?
So honestly, it came at a bad time. We were on a break, and Brian and I actually got to the point where we were talking about divorce. And it really was in that time where I especially just kind of sat back and was like, what do I really want here? Is this what I really want? And it wasn't long after that Lisa sent me a text message. It was just a white flag. And I was like, right on it, like, don't go, come back. Like, this, this is what I want. Like,
I think the hardest thing was her being able to let go of that ownership of Brian.
mm-hmm.
Brian's not an object.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I'm not an object and Missy is not an object. He's a human being with feelings and trying to control what he does, his likes, his desires, his connection. It kind of goes against the whole point of you wanting this. If this was a you thing, it should have been an open marriage with the ability to both equally explore, right? And I think that they, again, like a lot of married couples that are just like, oh, let's dive in, but it has to be this way and it has to be like this, and we both have to exactly have the exact same feelings at the exact same time. Otherwise, we're calling it quits. And I think because I had enough experience to know that Missy needed to take a few hard bumps before she could eventually see what she had. Just as they had saw the potential in me, I saw the potential in her, I saw the potential in Brian and in us, but it took patience. So I tried to come up with this cookie cutter like plan on what do you tell people going to attempt to have what we have or any other closed triad. And I think truthfully is give yourself like 18 months to really get to know someone. Don't rush anything too fast. New relationship energy, it's
Intense,
a real thing.
Yeah.
Just because one dyad may be experiencing a peak of it at one time doesn't necessarily mean the other won't.
And that was a big thing for us in the beginning, honestly, was that, and it was very hard for me at first because Brian and Lisa connected very quickly. And Lisa and I, not that we weren't connecting, but it wasn't like right away, And we really had to tell Brian, because Brian was like pushing it, you two do this, you two do this. Are you texting her? Is she texting? Like he was really kind of pushing for us to have a connection. Mm-hmm. And it was really when we told him, take a step back and let us do this, that we kind of figured out our groove, and something Lisa always says, like, we were like adolescents
12 years
because we were both so inexperienced with women that we just didn't know how to be together. So we kind of are.
Can we talk more about this and get deeper?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do see this in throuples too. I'll see like the girlfriend and the husband typically have this really zingy, it's just super easy. And then the wife's like, what the fuck? Why are they so happy together? And so then that throws a wrench. And then the other dynamic of like women don't know how to be with women. And I don't know if it's like, 10, 15 years of Disney Storyland, like you meet the prince and you get married and you have the white picket fence. Mm-hmm. We don't know what to do with it. Like I have podcast episodes on this, like women had to be, because I was the same way and I still am. Like when we date a new person, I'm like, hi, so pretty. Like I don't know how to flirt. I don't know. And I love a woman that'll be like, Jess is really good about this. She'll be like, I fucking want your pussy. Like, she'll just tell me. And I'm like, okay, you can have it. But like, I don't have the guts to say that. So like, can we talk more about this, please?
We absolutely can, because again, Missy and I are both very good at being girlfriends, being wives. And I mean, like, I guess taking cues. If a guy wants sex at night, it don't matter. The hand starts to rub.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right.
Let's
But
go.
when two girls who are still new, one's looking at the other, well, what are you wearing to bed? Oh, you're going to put full pajamas on that have a zip right up to the neck? Well, so am I. I didn't really think to ask, are you cold? Do I need to turn up the heat? I would take that because, again, I watch things, social media, and what do we joke about? When a girl's ready, she'll let you know. So I kind of take off like, all right, is she ready? No. And it's gotten to the point where I've looked at Miss and I'm like, I would really like it if tonight could be the night that you and I do that thing that we like, do that. And she'll be like, okay, cool. So just communicating and truthfully, you have to, because she doesn't know. Miss gets up at so early in the morning. As soon as her head hits that pillow, she's sawing logs.
Yeah.
My shot is very small if she doesn't know that it's on my mind. So I can't expect her to be a mind reader, just like I can't expect my male partner. I depend on the male and him to come out as soon as I get a little butt shake or whatever to take over, and he knows what to do. But
I'm learning.
I know. It actually happened, and I don't care. I'll dive into this. Like, middle of the night, I wake up. I'm like, Missy, what are you doing? And I'm sleeping.
I'm like, you were grinding up against me.
And I'm like, oh, well, then let's continue. But it was, the fact that happened was kind of like a huge thing because, and it's taken a little bit of time and at our own pace, but it was her own grind.
We're like, do we wake Brian up?
Yeah. Do we just let him go to sleep? So we have tried just about every type of toy. We make it a point to go into the local stores and just see what they have. And, does this look exciting? Should we try this? And you don't know until you try, like at all. So we went from having like this little tiny, I went from having this little tiny drawer. Now I have a couple drawers and a bag and a box. So
Same.
There's a lot, but
I'm like, Mama's bringing the strap on.
I don't know, and it takes exploring. So I think, the more we get comfortable, and we're at that 19-year-old where we think we're, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and then try that. We've got our 5. We've found it, and we're nurturing it. So
I love that. Yeah.
But it took a little bit.
It's
really
awkward, right? And I know for me, like when I get into it, I'm so into it. Like for I don't know, the first year or two that I was dating women, I was like, do I like them? I think I like them. I like the way they smell. I like the way they feel. Like but then it's like when I'm not around women, I'm like, oh, it's so much easier to be with guys. Like I know what to do. I have the playbook memorized. Like I've got this. It's so easy. And then I'm like, oh shit, what do I do with girls? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember if I just do it.
Right?
What was that?
I like not knowing what I'm doing and fumbling around a little bit. I think it's fun.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're also conditioned too, right? We were never conditioned, or no one ever told me, like, it's okay that you like boys and girls. Like, no one ever told me that. So, when you're younger, again, for most families, a lot of them don't sit down and be like, all right, darling, let's talk about the birds and the bees, and let's talk about feelings, and let's talk about consent, and let's talk about all the things that go with it. It's not just be a good girl and do what he says and he'll like you because you're pretty. Like you're asking for trouble, but there are, and truthfully, a lot of women and a lot of men are not comfortable talking about sex openly, not at all. So you have to. I raised my kids very openly, that they knew what a vagina was, they knew what a penis was, they knew what breasts were, they knew that they are sex organs, they knew that they had functions. It was not meant to be sexualized, if that makes sense. Because I didn't want them ever feeling any fear or shame when they had questions about the body. As you get older and you develop your own sexual being, then those things can come into play. But as young people, they need to know. You need to know what they're for.
Yeah, and
What,
P.S. Lisa's a nurse, so if you can't
yeah.
tell, she's like, we're going to talk about biology. I'm going to get a book out and show you where your shit's at.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of my favorite things to do when I meet people and, we start talking and they get comfortable. People will get really comfortable. And we have the discussion on, what do you clean your lady bits with? Yeah, honestly, so many people have recurring UTIs, they have yeast infections. And you know what the number one cause is? Soap and perfumes on the lady bits. The fun fact is, all you need is water. That is it. That's it.
I love it.
So,
Nurse Lisa giving you the tips on your lady
Yes.
how to clean them.
Keeping it fresh.
I sat down one day and I was thinking, how do I flirt with a woman? Right. And I was like, okay, well, as a woman, how do I like to be flirted with? And like, what things turn me on? And I was like, I'm very visual. So I'm very like wired for sex, and that turns me on. And so I was like, okay, well, like I want to know you want me. Words, right?
Yeah.
I want to see that you want me. So like pictures. I
Yeah.
want to like, and I kind of kept going down this rabbit hole and I was like, okay, so if I just replace a man doing that to me with a woman, that still really gets me wet. And we've dated a few women that have been, like I said, really forward, even sent me really dirty pictures. And I was like, damn, I like this. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of put that out there too, that like we want what men want too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's the same thing. Just try it out and see what happens.
Yeah. No, for sure. Again, being long distance, we really took advantage of technology and stuff like that. So that was kind of.
I love it. Let's dive into that.
Yeah.
How do you guys stay connected 2.5 hours away from each other? Technology is a great one, but also, do you have dyad dates? Like, how do you have one-on-one time? Tell us all the things.
So that is actually a lot easier for us with the distance, I think, because it's so easy for just one of us to go there and then the other one stay behind. So
you still have family at home, right? Like there's children that need to be sort of looked after.
They're adult children.
Okay. Okay.
Our youngest is 19.
And my youngest is 17. So, but yeah, it was once Missy was, I guess, on board with
alone time.
Yeah. It became really easy. It was like, oh, we have a girls' weekend planned because my girlfriends had this event planned. So, okay, well, that's a Missy. That's a Missy in Canada weekend. And then, okay, so then next weekend, Missy, you got to work. How about we'll all come on that weekend, and then I'll have a weekend where just Brian will come. So it was very much necessary. If we wanted to do well in our throuple, we needed to embrace those individual relationships. And really, an ishmi, as I like to say it, is that when I'm with one of them alone, I forget about the other one. I'll be honest, like I do, because I've spent so much time and waiting to have that ability to share just my time with you and no interruptions. It's like, oh yeah, but there's still someone else. So with that alone time, put some added pressure on me that I didn't think about. I'm aware of it. I do my best to always text both of them. It's not as much as I think I would like because, I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, but I know this and I'm aware of that. But being able to connect.
And when you're the single one, when they're on a couples, it's like you don't want to be like, hey guys.
Yeah.
How you doing?
So Missy, what do you do? What do you do when Brian goes to see Lisa?
What do I do?
Yeah, how do you like what does it feel like? Does it feel great? Do you feel your time up? Do you just enjoy the silence? Like
I usually will, I'll make a point usually to go out with my girlfriends just because I have the ability to and it's not interfering with anything else. So I'll usually fill my time up with something with a girlfriend or not a girlfriend.
yeah, we get it.
Or I'll yoga. I'm a yoga girl. I love my yoga and I'll spend some time doing that. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think something that I've been really pushing for is these two to take a weekend together. They give me this, we spend all week together. And I'm like, yes, but you have work, you have the kid, you have the household, you have just day-to-day stuff. Even though you're together 5 days a week, how many of those days are you disconnecting from the rest of the world and connecting back to each other? So that's kind of the goal, is to get them on a weekend away somewhere to kind of get back to them. So, and I know we have a lot coming up. We have the opening of camp, we have all the holidays coming up, but it needs to be a priority. Yeah. So
Okay, so I think what I understand that your structure is really similar to ours, where you have two dyad, weekends or overnights, and then you have a throuple weekend or overnight, and then there's like the fourth weekend. Lisa, you're home alone and you like do your own thing, or do you go back to
hardly
them?
ever.
No,
It's
a throuple weekend.
So, and again, like I am,
We spend every weekend together.
every weekend. So even when I'm working, and I even had said to them, guys, I'm working, and depending on what my day was like, I could have a very short day, I could have a very long day, and it didn't matter. It was the fact that we were all laying our heads down together, and I'm like, I just don't get it, like I don't understand it. Now I do. Like I get that we all just need to be together.
as much
So
as we can.
yeah, I'm on a kind of a break right now. I'm transitioning to a new job. So I've spent as much time as I could here. Because starting next week, it's like Monday to Friday, and we won't have this opportunity. So I've been cooking like crazy. And, I love to cook and just trying to make most of it. So eventually, again, I'm back and forth. Where are we gonna be together all together?
Yeah, that was gonna be my last question. Like, and
Yeah.
now what?
So again, I'm kind of more on the fence of maybe coming back here.
It's obviously easier for her to come here. For one person to uproot and come here versus the two of us to go there.
So as to the timeline of that, again, like I'm starting this new job. I'm really excited about it. More home life balance, weekends off, holidays off. So, I mean, it's all nice being here while they're at work, but it does kind of seem like, man, it might work for a while. I don't know, but I think I am kind of waiting to see what is the world going to look like. Where are we going? It does play a big part on things. And as long as nobody is in this dire need for us all to be together, which nobody over here is throwing out ultimatums like, if we're not all living together by 2 months, then this is done deal. There's no ultimatum, which again makes this, it'll happen when it does. And I have a feeling when that time comes, it's going to be just a really quick transition. It's going to be like fast.
Yeah.
But we're ready.
Super obvious, it's time.
My kids know that we all want to be together. My ex-husband is aware that I'm, going to be doing the move eventually. And, it's not like he doesn't, he supports it in his own way, I guess. Like he doesn't fight me on anything and is
Has
willing
he
to
met
help.
Missi and Brian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so fun fact. So me and my ex-husband live next door to each other. We share a porch, so it's kind of hard not to have met. We actually did our divorce on our porch, and the officiant that came was looking at us like, you sure you don't need lawyers? We're like, no, man. Like, we just want to be divorced. Like, I live here. If we can live here together, why do we need divorce lawyers? So yeah, we were horrible partners. Horrible. Absolutely. I can't say he was the cause of everything. You know, it takes two people. We were not good together. Apart, we do so much better, way better. And, you know, he's found someone who is just fantastic. And knowing that she's at home there for my kids, if I'm here, just makes it that much more okay. Like, I know she loves my kids as much as I do, and my kids are adults. So, yeah.
That's so awesome.
Mhm.
At what point did you guys know, like, this is it? We don't need to keep looking. We want to build a family or like a future together. Like, was this an immediate thing that it was, aha, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
I knew there was something special, but I think like when we sit and we reminisce about our first meeting, like they tell me we got in the Jeep and was like, oh my God.
It's true.
Yeah, and I felt the same way. Like, I think it was Missy's birthday and Brian's birthday. They're a couple days apart. So I had to work, and I'm like, well, why don't I just come for the night? They're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come. And I got up at something ridiculous, like 5:30 in the morning, and packed like I was going for a week, and brought them some Canadian bacon and made them breakfast when I got here. And yeah, it was awesome. And then I think the third time we met up, they're like, let's go to Vegas. And I'm like, and Brian had some stuff to do out there for work. And I was like, okay. And I think that was our fourth time we hung out.
It was in Vegas.
That's so
That could be a
amazing.
whole other podcast. I think you and I could have like a spicy conversation. We should come up with this like spicy talk with Jen and Lisa.
I love that.
Like, this should
Vegas
be
is
perfect.
so fun.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Isn't it fun to just feel uninhibited? Like there's a safe
Mhm.
space that you can just go wild and be like
Yeah.
your true authentic self.
Yes, until I go live on Facebook. And
That may or may not be a good idea.
No,
But
never. I'm really grateful now that Facebook will delete your live videos after 30 days. So thank God it's gone.
the damage is done.
We had a good time.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, I think my very last question, we can wrap this up. Like this has been really thorough, and I hope it's been helpful to people that are listening. Is if people are listening and they're like, I think I want this. Like I think I want to be in a throuple. What advice would you have?
Well, definitely. I think Lisa touched on it before about if it's something you want, like the closed throuple, you need to be patient and give it time. Like you will run into some hurdles, but if it is meant to work out, it will.
And I would say, like, as someone who is a single person looking to date, don't be afraid to ask hard questions. Don't be afraid to ask about what your boundaries are, what your experience is. Talking about STDs and STIs, talking about protection, talking about what their expectations are of you. What do you want from me? And if it doesn't align, that's okay. Totally okay. Sometimes people just make good friends out of a meeting like this. Don't sell yourself short. You are a beautiful person, and people want to have a good third. And I don't like the word third, but it is a third. They want a good third, just like the third wants a good 1 and 2. So a third can only be as good as their 1 and 2. So yeah. And I think something else that I kind of would like to share on is ignore the butterflies. If you get those butterfly feelings, pass. Something that really resonated with me was this calming feeling of home. Okay. When I met these two and we hugged for the first time, there was no anxiety or these fluttering, like, oh my God, it was comforting, it was calming, and it was peace. And I never experienced that before. So butterflies aren't always what you think they are. So look for the peace, look for the calm. Don't look for the fireworks. Fireworks are meant to come after, when you've established that this is someone that you want to be with, or some buddies that you want to be with. Then those moments that you want, there will be fireworks. Oh, there will be, but don't expect them right away. If you do, ask yourself, why am I feeling this? You know, am I someone that is just too quick at giving away my feelings, or too caught up in new relationship energy, right? Take a look. Love should be calming. Love should be peaceful. It shouldn't cause you to be sick or feel uncomfortable to say, trip on your words. Like, that's your body saying, hold up. So that's what I want to end with.
Beautiful. Thank you two so much for being on. Thank you, Brian, for submitting your part and virtually being a part of this. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.